Welcome, 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 everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here today. So, let's go ahead and dive in. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Shelley Howells, and I am a channel, seer, and ascension guide. My mission is to support visionary leaders fulfill their purpose as co creators of the new earth. And that's why I created the New Earth Mystery School under the direction of the Ascended Master Serapis Bey. He's my ascension guide, and he has helped me with this creation. The New Earth Mystery School is a choose your own adventure academy that combines ancient knowledge and 5D technologies to help New Earth leaders remember your purpose, activate, expand, and practice your next level zone of genius, and accelerate ascension for yourself, your business, and the collective. So, as I mentioned today, we're going to talk about the 5 phases of shadow integration. We're diving in, and the first thing is words are important, language is important. So let's talk about what I mean when we talk about the shadow. And I always preface these with the permission energy and invitation for you to take what resonates and release what doesn't. This is my experience and my perspective. And you have full permission to receive whatever is in alignment for you. My truth doesn't have to be your truth. In the New Earth Mystery School, we often go into quantum field to do a lot of our work. The quantum field is everything that exists, everything that has ever existed, that exists now, that has the potential to exist. It is chaos and creation. It is the all that is. A lot of people have different names for it. You might call that God. You might call it source. You might call it the divine. Also, each and every one of us and each and every one of those creations are a reflection of the all that is. We are a fractal of it, which means that we are mini replicas. And so, because we are mini replicas of the all that is, the divine source, God, whatever you choose to call it, that means that we have everything within us. We have all the qualities, all the aspects of all that is within us. Now, a shadow is created when an obstacle blocks the light. And so, our shadow is created when we reject parts of ourselves and put that outside of ourselves, and it becomes our shadow. In the third dimensional world, we live in duality. Because we live in duality, we judge things to be good or bad. We have lots and lots programming that teaches us what is good about us and what is bad about us. And so that causes us to reject parts of ourselves. Shadow integration is the act of loving all of those parts and reintegrating them. The framework for what we're going to be taking a look at is that here to create the third dimensional experience, we have these contracts with each other where we play this continuous game of perpetrator, victim, and savior because we have certain things that we've wanted to learn and to experience as humans. We have volunteered, if you will, to show up for each other in these different roles, either as the aggressor, who is the perpetrator of all kinds of abuse, or we're the victim. We're the one who is on the receiving end of that. Or we're the savior, the one who comes and swoops in and saves everybody. So, this is a dynamic that we're going to be exploring as we talk about the shadow integration here. So, shadow integration is one of the most profound journeys a healer can embark upon. And so let's start with the 5 phases. The first one is unconscious victimhood. This is the majority of people who are still on the karmic path. They are unawakened. They believe that all the bad things that happen to them come from external sources. Bad luck, or my jerk of a boss, or my partner, my parents, all the bad things that happen to them from outside forces. It is non consensual. In their understanding, they did not consent to this at all. It's simply bad things that are happening to them from other people and external circumstances. And so the core belief of this is that I suffer because of bad people and situations in my life. That is their core belief. It's phase one, but it's also phase zero because they're not actively working on integrating their shadow because they're not aware that there is a shadow yet. And yet, this is still an important part, an important phase of shadow integration because it is the pain and suffering that will trigger an awakening, which leads us to phase two. We all have people in our lives who are on the karmic path, who have chosen to continue to have the third dimensional experience without ever awakening. And that's okay. That is okay. They are having their human experience and we love them and we accept them where they are. And also, for many of us, that has led us to phase number two. And this is conscious victimhood. Now you're conscious. You start recognizing the pattern, but you still feel like it's happening from outside forces. And you recognize that when it happens, it triggers something within you. It touches your unhealed wounding. It highlights and brings to the surface your traumas. And you begin to recognize that there is an opportunity in this. Instead of continuing to repeat patterns and to live your life in this miserable existence, you recognize that now you can do something about it. You can begin to heal those wounds that come up, those wounds that are creating that shadow of victimhood. And so, this is still non consensual. You are still not saying, I agree to you doing this to me. I do not you're not agreeing to the universe doing this to you. However, as long as it's happening, you're going to make the best of it. This is where you bring in your healing tool. The core belief here is that I suffer because of my unhealed trauma. And let me know if you have been in this space of healing before. When you first started your healing journey, were you like me, where you thought, if I can just heal all my wounding, then I will be free from suffering? And in fact, at that stage in my healing journey, and that stage of my ascension journey, on the ascension path here, I thought that that was the purpose. Ascension meant that you healed all of your wounds and came into wholeness. And there is an element of truth to that, but it does go deeper than that. And so the integration that you're doing here is that victim stage. You are integrating various aspects of yourself as the victim. Phase three is the next level. This is something that we explore in depth in my Conscious Creator program. This is conscious reflection. So, yes, you are conscious. You recognize there are these patterns that are happening in your life. And yes, you recognize that it is related to wounding. Also, you have the additional understanding that everything and everybody, they're all simply reflections of you. They're doing a dance. They are reflecting back to you Those parts of yourself that you judge and reject, they reflect back to you the things that you don't love about yourself. When a bad thing happens, it's like, okay, you recognize that you created this circumstance, that you are the creator. And so you get to lean in and ask yourself, why did I create this? This is the phase where you recognize there, this is consensual. This is by design. You are the one who is creating this experience for whatever purpose your soul wants to have that experience. And so this is the aspect of you begin to integrate the savior part of you. Mm. I was just talking about this in the New Earth Experience Facebook group where Sabrina mentioned that on her journey right now, it's ecstatic and sustainable. And I was like, ooh, that is really good. That's something that I'm working on because my soul loves the roller coaster. My soul loves to create this big drama in my life and then to swoop in and save the day. This is a great opportunity for you to integrate the savior aspect of yourself here. And so you realize you created or attracted these experiences for your growth. And the core belief here is I suffer because there are parts of myself that I have not yet embraced. I feel like a lot of people are in this phase of healing where they are recognizing other people, other circumstances as reflections of themselves. And they are using that as an opportunity to love themselves more, to bring that into resonance, to love and accept themselves and integrate more. Also, let's acknowledge that the healing phase is what leads you to be able to come to this conscious reflection phase as well. So, congratulations, everyone, on doing so much good work with your shadow work. And there's a deeper level. There is a deeper level. This is something that I have been exploring with my guide, and it takes shadow work to the next level. This phase 4 is called conscious enjoyment. And so it is conscious. You are aware of the bad things happening and the things that we judge to be bad. And it is consensual. You are agreeing to this. You not only accept that you created it, but here's the kicker. You love it. You enjoy it. You find pleasure in it. Now, in the earlier phases, you find your joy in the overcoming. Can you see how that's still a bit of a rejection of parts of you? You're still rejecting parts of you because you have overcome these so-called negative things. Now, in this phase, you dive deep into that taboo, shameful part of you that says, I actually like this. This is where you begin to integrate your abuser, your inner perpetrator. Because our ego. Our ego is our identity. It does not allow us to admit, to consciously admit that we're the bad guy. It makes up stories. We can accept that we might be the bad guy in somebody else's story because they have a screwed up perception of us. But it's really, really hard for you to get your ego on board with the idea that you might actually be a bad guy. And this is where this deeper shadow integration comes from, right? Because as long as you are rejecting yourself as an abuser, there's still a shadow there. And so the things that I learned from this is, first of all, because these are so taboo, these desires and the pleasure that we get from, because it is so taboo, we typically do not express these onto other people necessarily, but we express it onto ourselves. And so, one thing that I've discovered in this is how much I love being constricted, right? And being bound, kind of like bondage. Okay. I love that because it takes away responsibility for doing things. And so I take great pleasure in being bound. I love that. Here's something that was really surprising to me is I love feeling worthless. I have to tell you, as an energy healer and a coach and someone who has done so many sessions with people, like language clearings and healings and sessions, so many. And I cannot tell you how many times worthiness comes up. In my work, I have spent a lot of time releasing false beliefs around somebody's worthiness. And yet, I love to be worthless. There is an aspect of me that loves to be worthless. And here's why. If I am worthless, then I am of no use to anyone. And if I am no use to anyone, no one can use me. If I'm useless, nobody can use me. That's like deep level. That is deep level protection. With this level, we're integrating our abuser. And what was I going to say about that? Let's get to the core belief. I suffer because I have not fully embraced all my desires and emotions. We're suffering at this space because of guilt and shame. We think I should not feel so much pleasure in being a bully. You can see how each stage builds on the other. It builds on each other. If you are in phase one, where you are completely unconscious and you are in your victimhood, and somebody tells you that everything happens for a reason, okay, well, that's not helpful. And you're going to have resistance to that. You're going to reject that. Likewise, if you are in the phase of conscious victimhood and you are like, okay, so this bad thing is happening to me, but at least I'm going to make the best out of it through healing. And somebody tells you that you're doing that to yourself, you're going to be resistant. You're going to reject that. You're going to be like, yeah, no, why would I do this to myself? Okay. And many of us have been in this space of conscious reflection where it's like, all right, I understand. Yes, this is a game. I am doing it to myself. Everybody is a reflection of me. Now, the resistance comes in with the ego that says, "Oh, but I don't enjoy it. Why would I enjoy this horrible bad thing?" The integration here is leaning into the shame, leaning into the guilt, allowing yourself to feel that and to integrate the shame as well. And also, I want to talk a little bit about ego because now we're getting into phase five, which is full integration. And what's interesting is that full integration is this idea, is what this concept of ego death actually is in practical terms. So when you think about ascension and you think about transcendence, You think about the ascended masters and what they've gone through, and they talk about ego death. Well, what is that exactly? People make it sound like ego death means simply being humble and killing that part of you that raises yourself above other people, creates that hierarchy. And yes, that is a part of it. I feel that ego death is here because ego is what keeps us separate. Ego is what holds our identity separate from everybody else. And so the ego is this is me and this is not me. Well, if you go back to the very beginning where I talked about we're all fractal of all that is, yes, this is me, and this is me, and that is me, and that is me, and that is me. And so you come into this final phase of your integration. This is conscious. All parts of yourself are fully integrated. You love every aspect of yourself. You have given up the need to always be the good guy, and you're now recognizing that I'm the bad guy, and damn it, I love being a bad guy. It brings me so much joy and pleasure. It's absolutely consensual. You no longer suffer from judgment or shame. You find joy in every experience, regardless of what it looks like. All of the experience up to phase 4 are like, oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Well, now you take that away. And so everything in life is delicious to you. And you absolutely love it. Your core belief becomes life is a game and I'm in on it. It's not something that is happening to me. And yes, I am creating it. I'm not just creating it, but I'm playing it. And sometimes I am the victim, and oh, I revel in my victimhood. I love being the victim. It feels so good to be the victim. And sometimes I am the savior. And oh, it feels so good. It's so much fun to be the savior. I love being the knight in shining armor, riding in on the white horse. I love that. Oh, and sometimes I'm the villain. Oh, what a juicy role that I get to play. Okay. And so you're in on the game. You get it. You know what is going on here. I relish playing all the roles, right? And not just those roles, but also all the other roles and experiences that life has to offer you. Check in with yourself and see what phase do you feel like you are in right now? What phase do you think that you might be in right now? Right? And now I will admit something to you. That's a trick question. And here is why. You are in all the phases simultaneously. You are a multidimensional being. There are some things that you are unconscious and unaware, and you just don't even want to go there, right? And so you are still in phase 1. There are things that you are actively healing. You are in phase 2. You are recognizing reflections back to you, and you are recognizing yourself as the creator of your experience. And you are even probably conscious of loving some aspects of your shadow self, the taboo. Yes, we are in all phases. And then also there's some, we're in that final phase of liberation as well, where we're not always in our shadow. We're not always digging and healing. We're enjoying life absolutely, absolutely beautifully. There are times when we are fully engaged, well aware that it's this beautiful game that we are playing in, and all these different levels of consciousness and integration. My invitation for you is to Lean in to all of the different phases. I had a post that I did on my Facebook a little while ago where I said, you know what? Spiritual bypassing is fine. And there was a beautiful big discussion about it because some people were like, no, it is not okay. Yeah, be in phase one and spiritually bypass some things. Go ahead, permission to do that. Phase two, do some healing, get those modalities. Phase three, be conscious and know what you are creating and enjoy it and live life liberated and fully enjoying it. So, to wrap it up, the shadow is not something to fear. It's a guide to freedom. It is your path to liberation. And as healers, we're called to navigate these phases with consciousness and healing. Healing is that phase that unlocks all the rest of the phases. I want to thank you all for joining me here today. I appreciate that you are here for this discussion. Take care and have an excellent weekend. Bye.